Coaches, welcome to the installation course, basic installation of the Fast and Physical 3 Safety Defense. My name is PJ Gibbs. I'm the founder of Fast and Physical 3 Safety Defense. Through this course, we're going to walk you through base fronts, how we install in the spring down here in Florida. Just finished up my 25th year of coaching. Was in New Jersey for a while and moved down to Florida 10 years ago. So really excited to go over this with you, and we'll go through the fronts, coverages, a little bit of pressure. Don't want to get too intricate. We'll also talk about position descriptions, kind of what we look for. And at the end of the presentation, I'll give you guys my contact info, but really excited. Got some really good slides, some good clips that we'll discuss and kind of, walk you through, go over a little bit and just looking to learn you guys up on the system and, hopefully you get something out of it. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. I thought this was something that I had to throw in here from Clint Hurdle. He used to be the Pittsburgh Pirates manager. Pressure is what you feel when you don't know what you're doing. And I think a lot what happens in coaching is, again, we're all students of the game, right? We all want to learn. We all want to teach our kids to do the right thing, put them in the best position to be successful. But, really what it comes down to at the end of the day is you really have to stress your foundational principles of what are your fundamentals, alignment and assignment, and also process over outcome. It's going to take time to build this thing the right way. So you as a coach, you're the one in charge. How are we going to build that, through a daily basis? What are we going to try to get better at each day? And I think when you look at who you're working for and your staff and, things that affect your daily process, it's something that if you are going to go to this defense, really you need to understand is that there's going to be some bumps in the road, but also, how do you react to adversity? And also one thing I think, all the staffs that I've been on, we do a really good job of is in-game adjustments. I think that sets, coaches apart is how do you adjust in-game, because everybody has a plan going into it, but what do you do when adversity hits? It's a formation you haven't seen. So once you prepared yourself through practice and the kids have gone through that, you don't feel that pressure. So you're going to know what you're doing so you don't feel that pressure. Really proud of this. Over 15 high schools across the United States have gone full into the Fast and Physical system. I've flown all over the country to do installations and consultations with coaches and programs. And it's a really cool thing to see, something that we started 2020 that it's really grown as much as it has. And not everybody's full in all over the country. Some people just like the installation piece, the pressure piece. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the game of football. So I love helping coaches. And the guys that use the system had a really good year. We had guys that played for a state championship, won conference titles, won a state championship. Guys that at one point of the season, Delran High School, New Jersey, they were averaging more scoring on defense than they were giving up points. So really good thing to see. Texts I get and Facebook messages and DMs on Twitter and Instagram, and just really awesome to see how this whole thing's expanded in almost 6 years. So why the 3 safety defense? So for us, it begins with alignment and assignment. You're going to teach the kids how to align, how to line up, and what their job is. And we take it step by step. It's a process that we just don't jump from, the 3-man to the 4-man front. We make sure that everybody understands their jobs and what they're supposed to do on the base stuff, on motion checks before we get moving forward. I like to use the example of educational stacking. So it's basically, if you think about it, you learned math, then subtraction, not math, then multiplication. You got to build it the right way. So we're going to talk about in this course, we're going to talk about the 3-man front, which is our Baylor front, the 4-man front, which is our Georgia front, 5-man Bear/Florida, and then Badger, our 6-man front. We won't go into empty really, because I think it's a little bit too involved in some of the stuff that we do. We want to keep this, just a base course. And, we always talk about not wanting to substitute DBs, but in our case, a couple of years ago, we had a single wing team in our district. So we had to take a DB off the field to add an extra lineman, but that's only extenuating circumstances. And then 2 things I really want to stress is that we are a 3 safety defense. We have some similarities to what Iowa State did for all those years. We will do some 3 high cross, but I want speed on the field. our guys got to be able to run. If you can't run, you can't play defense. And we got to be relentless to the ball and stress the havoc rate, which we'll talk about. Also, too, keeping it simple, multiplicity by simplicity. So do a lot of things out of one front to give that offensive coordinator, that opposing head coach, a lot of things that they have to practice and think about as the week goes on, or how they're going to prepare for you. So I think that's something that we do really well, and we keep things simple for the kids. All our secondary coverages, we'll talk about the base ones. We start out press too high, and we're post-snap rotation. So again, multiplicity by simplicity. All right, now position descriptions. I've had a lot of different body types. All the kids come in different body types, and so for us, I've been at 3 6A schools. I've been at a 1A private school for the last 2 years, so I've seen had a full gamut of kind of body types. Defensive ends. Listen, the defensive line in general, we want guys that get off the ball fast. We want guys that are penetrators. We want guys that can slant, loop, get after the quarterback, cause and create havoc. Size obviously is paramount, but you got to play the hand that you're dealt. Unless you get somebody that comes in from another school, you got to play the hand that you're dealt. So one thing I will say though about the nose guard, I've had a P4 nose guard and I've had a wrestling nose guard. They got to be able to stay low, run to the ball, and understand leverage. If you don't have a nose guard, go to your wrestling practice. If you have the wrestling coach on staff, even better. In 2020, when we first broke this out, our nose guard was the 135-pound state wrestling champion here in the state of Florida. So he really understood leverage and how to stay low and how to attack. The Mike backer is going to be your traditional plugger in our scheme. Just be able to get downhill and fill. He has run force usually outside him in most of this, especially in the Baylor front in our 3 down here. But he's usually gapped up and running to the football. Our jack backer is your traditional will, but what we'll do is we'll ask the jack in the Baylor front to play a gap to the football, unless we're stunting. We'll get to that a little bit. But then if we go to our Georgia front, our 4-2-5, he's going to stem down as a 5 technique. So my coaching point here to you guys is that with your jack backer, that backer needs to go with the defensive line coach at least one time. Learn how to squeeze and spill gap scheme, so power counter, not get reached on outside zone, be able to play inside zone as well, but also rush the quarterback. So you're doing that kid a disservice if you don't send him with the defensive line coach at least once a week. We'll start working with our nickel next, which is our Viper. I use the term Viper because Coach Don Brown is a mentor of mine, and he called his nickel the Viper. So I liked it. The kids liked the name, so we stick with it. Traditional nickel player has to be able to, set the edge on the run, play the C gap, be able to blitz, be able to play our zone concepts, but also to be able, when we play our trap coverage, be able to run vertical and in with number 2. So that's kind of the thing that they got to be able to play a little bit of man, but also understanding that they got to be able to run down the seam with 2. So, again, you're really working with an athletic type kid here. You can't have like a Mike Plugger, body type at the Viper in space. It's just not going to work. In our secondary, we play field and boundary with our safeties and corners. So the field guys, obviously we look for a little bit more athletic cover. The safety, typically, if we can get a basketball kid that's, pretty tall, that likes to be able to, play the middle of the field, play the half, has to make contact when he needs to, but can go up and get the football. Corner, same kind of deal, but it has to be a little bit, ideas to be able to, fit the run in our trap, our blue call, our trap concept. And then our boundary guys, obviously they're in a little bit less space. They got to be more physical. They got to be able to blitz, come off the edge, and they got to be able to make plays and fit in the run game. Now your Rover, who's your middle safety, it's got to be your dude. You're going to ask this kid to play a little hole robber, tackle the quarterback one-on-one, play the middle of the field, blitz, line up on the line in a 5 technique or a go 6, and then cover more than likely their best receiver when necessary. And I get asked by coaches all over the country about this, and they what do you mean by has to do all this? It's 4th and 1 in the state title game. You need somebody to make a tackle. This is the guy that you want making the tackle on 4th and 1 to win a state title. So end of story. It's got to be your best player. You're going to ask him to do a ton. He's going to be the quarterback of the defense. Okay. So now our base, 10 personnel look, again, Baylor, right? 3 down. So I'll go from the defensive line and I'll work myself out. So I got a zero technique nose. We're going to slant him away from the back. We use Lucky Ringo for left and right. Our ends are head up fours. They're going to attack the B gaps. So right now we're going Lucky. The B gap's taken up. The Mike backer is gapped up. We're playing split field coverage here. So for coaches, what we're doing here is we're going to play traditional Tampa 2 to the side of the Viper, and we're going to play press quarters away from the Viper. I'll walk you through that in a second. So again, our Mike is gapped up, okay? Our jack backer is A gap to the football. Obviously, our Viper is an apex, meaning the midpoint between the tackle and the slot defender. He's getting his run pass read from the tackle. He's a C gap fitter on the run. Corner to the Tampa side, no outside release, sinking to the flat. Field safety is a deep half player. This corner is Meg. He has a man. Meg is man everywhere he goes. We're pressing that guy. The boundary safety is at 10, walking down to 8. He has 2 vertical and out. Okay, our Rover here is lined over number 3. So 1, 2, the running back is 3. At 8 yards, he's a robber low hole to a banana fit. Now, what I mean by banana fit is if we get zone, if all these guys block to our defensive left, the jack will fit the A, the end is fitting the B. The Rover is slow playing the inside zone to fitting, in the shape of banana off for the quarterback. And again, he's a low hole robber against 10 personnel. So this is like day 1 base install. Okay. We can play blue, which is trap. So the corner would look to undercut 1 and look for 2 to come out. Safety, we get over top, but we traditionally start with Tampa 2 to the Viper side and then press quarters away from the Viper. Okay, so here's a film clip. I'll go ahead and start from the beginning. Okay, so here's our Viper. So it's the Viper right, so the passing strength is to the right. Here's our end, our nose, our end. This is our jack. That's our Mike. Okay, so we're going to get inside zone. I tell the Viper all the time, if the back is to your side, just sit there and read it. All right, especially in today's game with so much run pass option. Okay, I want the quarterback to hand the ball off. All right, so he's just going to sit there. If you were to attack on this run, they'd throw. You're going to see this receiver bubble. All right, and now that it's 2-on-2. We're 3 over 2. They have a corner out here. Our safeties here with our Viper here. Okay, so we're going to get inside zone to our defensive left. Okay, so you're going to see the zone. Okay, the Viper sits there, so the tackle steps out. All right, we have the jack filling here in the A gap. We have the end filling in the B gap. Okay, you see all the gaps are filled, and then our Viper's sitting there. You see the quarterback's helmet, looking at him right here. Okay, so he's going to sit so he doesn't throw the bubble, hand the ball off, and now we have 2 unblocked players to the ball. Show you guys that one more time. Okay, run force here, run force outside. Okay, safety filling in the alley, secondary run support right here. Viper is coming now. He's the cutback player, and now here comes the boundary safety. Okay, 11 personnel. All right, we'll do a couple different things. So let's talk about this picture. All right, we have a tight end in line, meaning he's on the ball, hand in the dirt. Okay, so the passing strength, the slots here. So this is Viper right. Okay, Viper right. The one adjustment we'll make with the D line is now this end will play a 5 technique outside shade of the tackle. The nose now, the tight end now trumps the back. So now we're going to send the nose Lucky. Okay, and then this end still playing the B gap. We're basically playing cover 6, which is basically quarters on this side, man, and then we're still playing our Tampa 2 concept here. The Rover is lining over number 3, who's the back. So again, we count 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now the Mike is now a B gap player because we have the nose in the A, the end in the C, the safety in the D. He's locked up on the tight end. Okay, so he's a B gap to the ball player. Jack, still an A gap player. Okay, Rover is now going to, again, he'll be a banana fit on inside zone to zone read, or he's going to rob on pass, look for anything coming across. All right, or he's just an extra hitter. He's not accounted for in the run scheme. Okay, and again, we'll play Tampa or trap or blue on this side. So blue for us, again, coaches, is trap. All right, so let's walk up here. So they started out before we run this play. So they started out in tight end, 2 back. They shifted him up here. So this was 11 personnel pre-snap. They shifted this back. So what we did is, so we have our Viper is now, okay, stepping up on the line. Okay, our safety, all right, is now walked up on the tight end. Okay, we're playing Tampa to this side, and single receiver rules. I won't go over that yet. All right, because I want to get to that with the 3-by-1 stuff. But just see it now. We're going to slant our nose, Ringo, and now he's going to go to the tight end side. We have a 5 technique, okay, and a 4 technique. So Ringo nose, 5 technique, end, head up 4, pinch in the into the B gap here. Okay, so now you can see we got everything's pretty much gapped up. The Viper here, I'd like to see him, right now he's reached a little bit, but he does a better job of fighting outside to make this play. Okay, and we'll go back and look at that again. Okay, now again, Viper's going to walk up. Okay, so we have Viper. All right, I like to call this like the tip of the spear. All right, so we have the corner, okay, forcing the run back inside here. We have the Viper ripping through and setting the edge, and now we have our safety, secondary alley run support, and then we have these guys all getting flat and running. So right now I think we have 9 or 10 guys in the picture, which is exactly what you want. Okay, they guys make a really good play. Next slide real quick. Okay, so you need to have a plan for 12 personnel. One of the things that I always stress when I do these talks or I get questions from coaches, they're like, Coach, what's your kryptonite? And I was like, well, 12 personnel for us, we really need, we're starting to develop plans. Again, this system is ever evolving. You watch what the college level does. Coach Lanning at Oregon does a great job. Coach Haynes in Indiana has done some really, really good stuff. Obviously, Coach Heatherman here in Miami, has done some really good stuff too. So you need to have a plan for 12 personnel. So, but basic, what we look at, and you'll see in the film clip. All right, we're going to, if we get the tight end wing with the twins away, I really like to really stem the Viper up into a 5 and kick this guy down. I think with 12 personnel, because we get so much zone, is our skin. So if you guys can see down here, stem the Viper with skinning, or skinning is, and it's slanting underneath the tackle. So moving this guy and the end and slanting him, getting the Viper and slanting him, making everything bounce. Because again, we have speed on the field. We want them going east-west. We don't want them going north-south. So walk the Rover up, play our cover 2 concept behind it. Or if we want to play man, we'll put the corner man on the wing and the safety man on the tight end. Okay, but again, lucky call here because tight end wing's over here. So A gap's taken care of, C gap, Mike has the B. Now if we stem this, the N goes into the A gap, the Viper skinning underneath the tackle goes in the B. That means he's gapped up because he has a safety sitting right here. Okay, but you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan for 12 personnel. Okay, you're going to see here we get a little bit of motion. Okay, so the corner now is locked. So this is unbalanced. So this is tight end, 2 wide receivers. So we're man. Okay, what we did was, here's our Viper. We walked up our Mike here. This is our Jack. There's our Rover. So what I did this game was I wanted the Rover to be kind of free, free to be able to run tight end to tight end. So that's why we backed him up and didn't have him standing next to the Jack in a 30. But all these guys across are man. So corner has the wing. Okay, Viper has the tight end. All right, and then safety and corner are over off the screen. Go back and watch that again. You're going to see what the Mike does here. The Mike is going to try to get underneath this tackle, knowing that the corner's got this man. See that? We kind of skin it, and we make it bounce right to our guys. We'll show that to you guys one more time. skinning underneath, making him go east-west. Good fit. Okay, Rover free to the ball. Okay, so that's 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and 12 personnel. Base stuff. Like I said, we're just talking base, not getting anything too crazy. All right, so now our Apache check. Now we're back to 10 personnel, but now 10 personnel to 3x1 open. All right, so you see the number 55 on the slide. So 55 is an alert for our ends to get into 5 techniques. So you hear everybody say 55. You'll see the ends get out of the 4s, the head up 4s, and go to the 5 techniques on the outside shade of the tackle. Okay, so this is what Apache means, is that we're playing Tampa 2 or blue or trap with the corner, the viper, and the safety. The Rover has 3 control. So we'll get him out of the box and move him over number 3. So we're 4 over 3. Okay. Now, single receiver rules. I mentioned this in a couple clips before. Is either blue or Indiana, which is either trap or invert based on the width of the wide receiver. Here's a rule of thumb. This is what I always tell my corners. If you think you can fit the run, make a blue call. Okay, because we have to be able to fit the run and trap. If he's too wide, if you don't think you're going to be able to fit the run, make an Indiana call. So now you're locked on the receiver as the corner, and the safety is now going to come down and invert, which we're going to see in a couple of these clips. Okay. So again, Apache check means we're 4 over 3. The box stays the same. Okay. So lucky call here, both taking the B gap. Okay. Mike's gapped up. We have run support, whether it's the safety or the corner, and the jack is still A gap to the football. All right. So here we go. All right. So here's Apache. So you see they got trips. Okay. Corner, viper, safety, Rover. All right. And we're either invert or trap on this side. Box is the same. So just real quick, I know you guys are probably looking and saying, Coach, there's only one linebacker there. So this was in a county all-star game where you had to play 4 down. We talked the referees into letting the linebacker away from the slant walk up. So we're technically 4 down with him as the linebacker. So either the Mike or the Jack would walk up and the other linebacker would play the open gap. So that's why it kind of looks funky. So you see here, boundary safety came down and inverted. All right. We're playing Tampa 2. All right. Now, the bubble comes. The Rover's going to not chase that unless it's thrown. Safety staying over top. Corner still looking, obviously outside. All right. The Viper now just should do a better job of collisioning this guy. But again, you have 3 days of practice, and, those kids are not taught by you the whole year. So they throw bubble. And now look, we got the numbers. We got everybody running flat down the line. Good job by the players there. Okay. Look at that one more time. Safety inverts. We get bubble. Beautiful thing. Okay. Next clip. Here we go. All right, so now we got sorry about that, guys. Okay, so this is a good look at the invert. A really good look at the invert. Let's start it. We'll start from the beginning once it resets. Okay, you see the safety come down. They try to run a little screen into the boundary. Tackle now, it's 2-on-1, right? So we look, okay, they're throwing him the ball. All right, so it's Apache over here, right? You guys can see we're 4 over 3. All right, so now this tackle, his rule is going to be to kick out the last man. That's why he runs by the safety, because he was told to block the corner. All right, so we're 2-on-1. So he really can't be right in this blocking scene, because if he blocks the safety, now the corner's free to go make the tackle. But we got an Indiana call here. Good finish by the boundary safety there. All right, next clip. Okay, so and again, Apache check here. Now we're going to trap the boundary. Really good job by the boundary corner here, not showing it. All right, because they want it. They're going to want to throw this hitch right here to the boundary. Watch the quarterback once he breaks. Boom, right there. Now there's nowhere to go, and now we got pressure. We get a sack. Show that one more time. Good job holding his water. Almost walked into a pick six there. But again, one of the coaching points I want to make is to go back to the picture prior. Okay, so they have 3 receivers. We have 4 defenders. They have 1 receiver. We're 2 for 1. Okay, so what it's telling the spread team is that if you want to try to throw perimeter, you want to try to throw the ball deep, we have you outnumbered. So you're going to have to hand the ball off or try to run the quarterback +1, right? So that's kind of the thinking behind this coverage against 3-by-1 open. And again, obviously you're going to build it out. There's going to be some pressure stuff involved, but I want to show you guys the basic tools you could have if you're going to face a 3-by-1 open team. Okay. So the next, we talked about like building out the foundation, right? So we talked about the basic, alignment, all right, against 10 personnel. So now we get our motion check. So we have a motion check, motion away from the Viper, and we have a motion check with motion to the Viper. I'm just going to talk about the motion check away from the Viper. This is our roll coverage, which is a cloud coverage concept. What I mean by cloud is the corner is the flat defender. Okay, so you're going to see they break the huddle. It's 10 personnel. So we have 2-by-2 open. So here we have it's Viper left. The back is number 3. So the Rover is lined up over number 3. All right. Our corners, again, we're pressed too high. We're post snap rotation, right? Okay. So now we get motion away from the Viper. We're going to we do a roll right or a roll left. So right here, this would be a roll right, okay, which means that this right corner is now really aggressive, playing the flat, jamming this number 1 receiver. The safeties now will roll right. So the boundary safety plays this third. The field safety plays the middle third. The field corner plays the field third. The Viper is now the flat defender, okay? The backers, the Mike and the Jack, are both hook to curl defenders. And your Rover is still your low hole robber. Okay, so that's the motion check away from the Viper. Motion away from the Viper, we're going to check roll. Now, obviously, the deeper you get into the defense and the system, you're going to see we do a lot of different things. Okay, here we go. This will be our roll right call. All right. Field corner in the deep third. Go ahead and show you guys that again. I'll talk about the little intricacies in a second. We'll go back and run that clip again. We get a pick, second drive of the series in a district game. Really good job by our corner there, our field corner. And then so our Mike now, because they have a tight end, what we did was I talked about like little change ups. To maximize the coverage, we walked our Mike up and told him, hey, on certain third downs, we're going to put you up here. You're going to cover the tight end man to man. That's why you see him instead of rushing the passer, you see the Mike in coverage, and the Jack now goes for secondary contained. So it's a good job, good communication. All right, so that's kind of a little bit of the coverage stuff. Now we're going to talk about run fits and what your expectations are, going into teaching the defense. We talked about the personnel types. We talked about what you're looking for. Okay, so like again, we talked about what their gap responsibilities are. We talked about what the expectations are for you guys as far as stressing, running the football, relentless pursuit, and havoc. And again, the secondary, it's all based on what coverage you're playing. So again, obviously your Rover is your free hitter, okay? Mike is gapped up. The Jack is a gap to the football. Rover, we talked about that banana fit, give you guys a little bit of a visual there. We're playing Tampa 2 to this side, and we're playing our press quarters over here, okay? So, again, drawing up perfect world node movement. Both ends have B gap, nose has A gap, Mike is gapped up. Okay, Viper is C gap to the football. We're jamming and sinking, deep half player, man everywhere he goes. Remember, we called that Meg. And then 10 down to 8 flat foot reading, getting the run pass read from the offensive tackle to his side. Okay. Now we talked about 11 personnel run fits. It's basically going to be the same thing. Just obviously switched corner and the field safety are man, and then we have the Mike now as a B gap player. Jack's still an A gap player. Viper's still a C gap player. Now Rover's lined over 3. Low hole robber playing the whole field. All right, and then obviously Tampa 2 to this side, and you have your man concept over here. Okay, so this would be like 11 personnel run fit. All right. So right now we're in Baylor. All right. So right now our ends, our B gap players, our nose is going to slant Lucky, going to go to the left. Our Mike backer, our Jack backer. Now our Rover is lined up over number 3. Okay. Now with this look, we're going to get either it's our single receiver rules because he's in line here off the ball. So it's either going to be a blue call, which is trap, the corner would trap. All right, and the safety we get over top, or we get an Indiana call where now he's coming down as the run force and he's playing man. And we're playing Tampa 2 to this side. Okay, it's an Indiana call. We get jet. We got good run force. All right, I'll show you. Take a look at that one more time. You see the end here does a really good job with this get off, getting into that B gap. Okay, making the play, and we got guys running all over the ball, running all over the place. That's a good clip right there. Okay, now here's 10 personnel, right? Okay, so Viper left, playing Tampa 2. Okay, our quarter side is over here. Here's the Jack. Here's the Mike, Viper, Rover, and nose, and so we're going Ringo here with the nose, B gap, B gap. You can see how effective that penetrating the defensive ends are. We'll go watch that one more time. Okay, good job cleaning up by the Mike. We got everybody around the football except for the 2 corners and the field safety. Okay, I wanted to throw this clip on here because I wanted to show you guys what happens when you have 10 guys doing their job and one guy that doesn't do his job to the best of his ability. And it could be as much as a little bit of an angle. That's going to be our edge defensive end right here. Okay, so this is a pressure for us. I'm not going to go into what pressure it is, but basically what we're doing is we're playing our cover 7 stuff, which I'm not going to talk about. That's the Rovers over 3 here. Looks like Apache, but it's not. But just watch the field side defensive end here and just how much a little bit off can do. You see how we took 15 on thick there, okay, and didn't let the quarterback out. Now, if the quarterback was a little bit more athletic, he'd have that whole sideline. Okay, we'll go watch that one more time. Now, again, great get off, but outside shoulder of the back. Don't go down the middle. So stop right. Okay, right here. See how he's thick? Okay, now if he's to the outside, maybe this quarterback pulls up and look who's coming. We got 55 coming. Okay, flat. Really, really good. That would have been a nice shot. But because we take this guy on down the middle, it allows the quarterback to get out. All right. And again, if he was a better runner, we would be in trouble. Okay, but he still gives great effort. Okay, ends up getting a tackle on the play, but could have been a sack by 55 or by the nose guard or him. Okay. Okay, this was that roll coverage play I wanted to show you guys. This is the wide angle. I know it's kind of jumbled out of the mix, but it's good if you see the wide angle here. Okay, we're rolling right. Okay, field corner's got to do a little bit better job. You didn't see that at the tight angle. He kind of is looking back at the quarterback, but makes up for it, makes a heck of a play. Okay. All right, we talked about Apache. Okay, now it could be the same check if you get 3-by-1 attached. So what I mean is now the tight end is your third receiver. We still have our coverage, our Tampa, our trap to this side. Rover's lined up over number 3. Obviously, he has 3 man-to-man. All right, but if he gets run, okay, he can help fit in the C gap or the D gap. And then again, our single receiver rules backside is either trap or invert, depending on the width of the number 1 receiver. Okay, now what we're going to get into is Georgia, which is our 4-2-5. Okay, so again, really the only thing that really changes is your jack backer is going to stem to a 5 technique and kick the line away from him. So we'd stem here, kick everybody here. Now again, we could play head up 2s and slant. We could play an over front, which would be a 3 technique and a shade, or an under front, which would be a 3 technique here and a shade. And obviously the Viper goes to the passing strength. All right, our Mike is still here. Now what we do is we'll take our Rover and make him a 30 backer, or as you saw a couple of those clips, we'll put the Mike over the center and play the Rover behind so he can run from tackle to tackle. It all depends. Now, what we'll do coverage-wise is we'll play our green coverage, which is cover 3. So we'll roll this boundary safety down here, get him to the single high to the middle, and these guys will press bail in the thirds. Or we can still play our press quarters and our trap or our Tampa. That's all that we can do. And then obviously we're going to pressure the heck out of it. Okay. And here's a good clip. So here's Georgia, right? Our 4 down. All right, there's our Viper, corner, safety. You're going to see the safety come down. We're going to Indiana. We're going to invert. All right. And then there's our Mike and our Rover. So there's our 4-2-5, our Georgia look. I'll show that clip again. Safety does a really good job. I wish I had the end zone one of this. Does a really good job being patient, coming down on the snap, gets outside the pullers. Okay, and he makes a great play as a boundary safety on that invert look. Okay, now we talked about in the installation process with Florida. So this is our penny. Okay, penny for us again is we have 5-on-5. Everybody covered with our Rover playing the 1, and then obviously we have our field safety, boundary safety, corner Viper. All right, so. Our ends are going to be in 5s. Our Mike and our Jack are in 2s. Our nose in 0. Now, we're going to pressure a lot out of this. So this is the kind of the first extra front you're going through. Once you get the Baylor and the Georgia stuff down, this is the extra front that you're going to put in. You could play it like this, or you could play cover 1, which is our gold, or cover 3, which is our green. Behind it, or you could play the Tampa and orange concept. But your Rover is going to be that low hole robber free to the bull, or you could blitz them. Okay, but this is a pressure front for us. We were very rarely just line up like this. We're going to have some movement. We're gonna drop guys. We're going to do something. I'll show you a pressure out of this that's easy to install. But I just wanted to show you guys Florida front for us is a 10 personnel. So this picture, whether it's 2-by-2 or 3-by-1 open. I don't really like to run it with a tight end in the game because they outman us in the gaps. So we'll have some different stuff for that. All right, but this is our Florida front. Now, this is the blitz I'm going to show you. I got 2 clips of it. So this is our Cincy pressure. So if we go Cincy, now again, I want to stress that we are going to. In the spring, you'll say Florida, Cincy, Tampa, or Florida, Cincy, Blue. In the season, when you get to fall camp, it's just Cincy. The kids know the front, they know the coverage. All right, but you have to kind of, they got to crawl before they can walk. You know what I mean? So we're going to slant. So this is a boundary pressure. So the ball's on the hash. We're going to slant everybody to the field. Okay. We're going to play Tampa or Blue to this side. The boundary corner is going to blitz, and we're going to trap. We're going to trap with the boundary safety and the rover playing the half. All right. The one coaching point here is if you get motion to 3-by-1, the jack backer on pass has to leave because he's going to have, if you get 3 vertical, he has to take 3. So that's the only real coaching point I have to make on this before we get to the clips. So here comes the corner. Everybody's slanting to the field. Corner missed a kill shot, but we got the sack. Okay. Same game, same deal. All right, we have about 7 different pressures out of this front. So here you're going to see the corner start coming. Now the pressure is going to get there. Good job by the corner. The only thing I'd like to see the corner do is not man turn. What I mean by that is don't lose sight of the wide out. Like, keep jamming, keep your butt to the sideline, see this wheel route coming. And, again, the corner makes a great play. But if he, it made it hard on himself. But we got the pressure. And that interception helped seal the game for us. Okay. A little bit of coverage stuff. All right. So when we talk about Tampa, okay, Tampa 2. All right. So the corners are mandatory no outside release and sinking up to 15 yards in the flat. Both safeties are inside leverage of the number 2 receivers. They have the deep half. Okay. Viper is a hook to curl player, so he'll get his read from the end man line of scrimmage. He's going to, if 2 comes out in vertical, we want him to collision. Okay, we want him to collision. Let me go back to that real quick. Sorry, coaches. Let me go back to Tampa real quick. I accidentally clicked the button. Present. All right. So both the overhangs here, the Rover and the Viper, are hook to curl players. So they're get a pass read from the tackle. If 2 goes away, they look for number 1 coming. If 2 goes vertical, they collision him, look for 1 coming back underneath. Okay. These guys are hook players. So they're going to get to about 10 to 12 yards. So they're respective hooks. All right. And again, understanding that the corner's out there in the flat. So don't go chasing a guy out at corner sitting right there. Okay. Cover 3 is press bail cover 3. All right. So corners are going to press. They're going to bail into their thirds. The safety away from the Viper is the guy down as the force flat defender. The same with the Viper. He's a force flat defender. All right. And then we have our hook players and our Mike and our Jack, and our Rover is our low hole player looking to rob anything. We have a caveat off that, but again, I want to stay basic, simple install for us. Okay, now blue. I'm going to say this about trap coverage. If you guys invest time in it, I think it's one of the best coverages that you can run in high school and youth football. It's something that it takes away all the quick throws, hitches, bubbles. It adds secondary run force and a perimeter run game. It's invaluable to me. I love it. So please, if you can invest time. So both corners, what they're going to do is they're going to undercut 1, okay, and look for 2 to come out. If 2 doesn't come out, they're going to follow this. They're going to keep shuffling. Both safeties are weaving over top of number 1. The Viper and the Rover here, it says cut. Okay, so when you hear the word cut, that means that you have the receiver vertical and in. Okay, vertical and in. So they are cut on number 2. So that means if 2 goes vertical, I'm running with him. 2 goes in, I got him now. If he goes under right away, we're not chasing that. He's got to press us vertical and then come in. All right. So I love it. It's a great coverage. I highly recommend you guys investing in it. All right. Now, okay, we talked about Badger in the beginning. So this is the Badger front. All right. So this is a version of a kind of different version of Bear. So it's a 6-man front. So here are the rules of Badger. Okay. I like to run it into this formation, whether it's a tight end inline or off the ball like a wing. All right. So the Rover is always going to follow that guy. So whether he's the inline tight end or the wing, he's going to follow that guy. The corners, it's cover 1. So the corners are man. The field safety is a better cover guy. So he'll cover number 2. Boundary safety will come to middle of the field and play what we call a delayed third. And I'll talk about that in a second. The Viper always goes opposite the Rover. He is our edge. The end is in a head up 4. He's slanting to the B gap. Mike has the back man to man, but on run, he'll slant in the A. Nose will go A to B. Okay, Jack will slant C to D, and then we have edge right here. So we have an edge. So now if we get, this guy coming across formation to go to the flat, the Rover's got him. Key coaching point here is don't be too tight you're going to get caught in the trash. Play at about 4 to 5 yards. So if this guy does go across formation, you have enough room. Okay. So it's true cover one. It's a good pressure front. I really, really like it. Okay, here's a good look at it right here. Hey, great job by the Mike. Okay, we backed him off a little bit. Okay, he's got the back man and man. We get a good spill by our end. All right, and both both safeties showing up to fit the run game. Okay, corner's got him man, so he's not only worried about that, but a great spill by the end. All right, and again, it's immediate edge pressure. All right, you're immediately getting edge pressure. One more time. Good spill. Boom. Great job. Great job by the Mike. Okay. All right. Another one that I really like when we talk about, installing is Army. Okay. Well, why do we call it Army? Okay. It's a linebacker in the A gap. All right. So now there's a rule breaker here. Okay. Now, again, you can run as the 10, 11, empty, it's a great four-man pressure. They call it a creeper pressure because the linebacker is going to creep up and then go on the snap. The rule breaker for us here is the nose now will be toed to slant away from the back, and that linebacker to that nose side is going to be gapped up. That's why this jack linebacker here, okay, has that right here. Our Viper is to the passing string. So again, Tampa or trap, okay, and we walk the Rover up on the tight end. If you don't want to walk the Rover up on the tight end, you can put him over number 3 back here and play quarters to this side, okay? But it's a great four-man pressure. I like it on run and pass downs. Really like it on run and pass downs. It's probably, if I did a breakdown of how many times I called it, I would say this would probably be a first and second down one that I call a lot because you get to still play coverage, but you get to get a double A gap pressure. Okay, you see the Mike here. He's walked up. Great job by our Viper. All right, on that, I'll play that again real quick. So the Mike, I'd rather have him come from depth. You're going to see that in the next clip. All right. But he's walked up here. Okay. And I'd rather have him come from depth to see this thing open up. He gets picked up, but the Viper does a really good job. He gets motion here on the swing pass and fights outside for leverage. So a quick throw, got rid of it. We don't get pressure, but the Viper does a really good job finishing this play. Okay. Let me get to this next clip to show you guys what it's really supposed to look like coming from depth. Stop right here. Go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning, coach. Let me go back to, there we go. Okay. All right. Again, it's 2x2, 10 personnel. Okay. So now the back is going to, the nose is going to go, all right. The nose is going to go Ringo here. You see how the linebacker waits and that thing just opens up. We'll run that one more time. And again, I don't mind coming flat-footed or just taking a couple steps, but I don't want to show it right away. That's why one more time you guys will see that open up. See this thing open up? And then we're playing covers behind it. So great job by the linebacker there, by the Mike. Okay. These two, I'm gonna go through Moxy. It's a simulated pressure, okay, meaning that we're showing more than we're bringing. Okay, I have a couple end zone cuts of it. It's something that I'd say be more for a high school level coach than a youth, because I think youth you guys see a lot more tight end oriented, whether it's 11, 12, or 22 personnel. I love this against. I like it against 11. I love it against 10. Okay. So here are the rules. All right. So we want to show the overload to the side of the back. All right. So because this is generally the man protection side. What I mean by that is generally they'll slide and have an area. These two guys will have man and protection because the back is responsible for the extra person. So we're gonna shift the line away from the back. So we have a wide edge end, a nose guard who's going to slant into the A gap. This end who's going to work through the center to contain, okay? The Mike is going to be the looper. All right, now on run, you're going to get 6 guys, okay, because the Rover is not going to leave and the jack is not going to drop. So the Rover is a low hole player on pass. We're playing Tampa 2 to the side of the jack. We're playing trap to the side of the Viper, okay? So that's what I really love about this pressure is those are the rules. The Rover is responsible for 3 control. So if we get motion to 3x1 or they line up in trips, if there's speed at 3, I tell them forget about the look. You got to get out because we don't want to get burned. You're gonna see that in the clip that I show you. Okay, but you're gonna get a 4 to 6 man pressure depending on run or pass. That was to the trap side. So here I'll pause this from we go from okay. So you're really putting this tackle in a bind because the end is wide. He's slanting here. He's working to contain. Here's the mic coming a loop. So if the tackle steps down, the end is free. If the tackle steps out, the mic is free. And here's our jack backer right here. But you're going to see the end come free on this one because he gets picked up. The mic gets picked up. And then they throw the ball right into the trap corner and he drops it. We don't like PBUs. We like INTs. That's what I tell the kids all the time. Here's a really good look. Okay, so Mike, Rover, jack, end, nose, end. Okay, I'd rather have the safety over here on the hash. He's a little too, So we're Tampa on this side. We're trapping over here. See this open up? Look at this right here. Beautiful. Get a good hit on the quarterback. Okay, almost a pick. Okay, we'll show that one more time. Now, again, the mic does a really good job of kind of delaying a little bit and then looping. But this is a great pressure for any high school coach. Great job by the nose, good hit. Okay, and almost a pick. Okay. Guys, I really appreciate you taking the time. I got to plug a couple of the guys that really helped me out. Coach Dan Budd is all the slides that you see, he does for me. If you guys mention this course, he'll give you 10% off. Special teams, offense, defense. That's my website. You can go sign up for our newsletter. I do have some more books and materials coming out. A workbook to go along with the 15 course system and some manuals. But this guy is the man. So please, please, please reach out to Coach to help you out with your presentations. Doing this presentation on Quick Cut. Easiest to I was sitting with my wife last night and she was watching me do this presentation and I was literally done with it in about 15 minutes. These guys are awesome. Todd and those guys. If you want 50 free extra hours, mention my name when you call, but I can't say enough about the quality and the easy flow of the product. It's phenomenal. And then this is my Twitter handle, guys, for myself, the defense, and that's my email. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out, DM me, DM the defense, shoot me an email. Again, I hope this helped you guys walk through the basic install of the fast and physical 3 safety defense.